Hello. Sorry, it put me in a room by myself at first. I had to rejoin.
Oh,
Hello.
hi.
Hey guys, okay. We can get started. Let me share my screen here. Okay, can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yes.
Okay, so this will be kind of an incremental update from our last meetings. The focus here today remains on getting Fabric 3.x out to a place where it can be out for a production release. We have the beta out for a couple months now, of course. I think that was back in March. Before I go into that, I will say I'm going to be looking at a patch release on Fabric 2.5, mostly to bring Go up to 1.22. I know there's a little bit of activity in that space recently, but we should be able to get that done pretty quick and get another Fabric 2x release. I think that would be 2.5.8, if I remember correctly. But look for that in the next week or so. Then we'll talk about version 3 here. Anything else anybody wants to add to the agenda today? Okay, so let's go through these Fabric 3 items. Mostly write this up so that I have a good reference for the release notes when I write that up pretty soon here. But the first set of things are things that were deprecated that have already been removed in the main branch. So thanks for everybody that helped out with these things. So things like the system channel, solo ordering, Kafka, this config tx gen flag that was deprecated a long time, and the Fabric tools image. I know some of you on the call helped with some of these, so thank you. Any questions on these? Okay, so the things we need to finish out, Smart BFT is nearing completion here. There's just a few things, odds and ends left to do. I will let Yakov talk about this one since he's closest to this one.
Yeah, so the actual functionality-wise pending item is, okay, sorry. The functionality-wise pending item that is a must for the release is the item that is related to the policy of the endpoints. So basically, in the old, version 1 and version 2 Fabric, we could specify global endpoints, which is not very healthy, I would say. And we decided to make the global endpoints deprecated and to use instead an org level endpoints and endpoints and also TLSJ certificates. So in version 3, it's time to make the deprecation finalized, in the sense that if you have a V2 version of Fabric, you want to upgrade to V3, you cannot have any global endpoints. Also, if you are creating a brand new channel with V3, you will not be able to create global endpoints anymore, but only org level endpoints. So basically, the code is, the PR is there, but still cannot be merged yet because there's still some tests that are pending to be working. So it's nearing completion, I would say.
Yeah, so that's the one I'm highlighting here. Is that actually related to Smart BFT, or is that completely separate?
It's not related to Smart BFT consensus, if that's what you mean.
Yeah. Okay, so I just wanted to clarify that. So I understand that one. So how about Smart BFT? I know there's at least one PR out for that third bullet here around picking the deliver option for Smart BFT. And then there's still a little bit of work, I think, around unit tests and integration tests outstanding. Is that correct?
Yeah. So, but the picking the peer delivery option in the peer, I don't consider that as a functionality change because, well, it's not something that actually affects a lot of things. We can always like add it later. It's just a local config file. Sorry, just a local config flag. It's not something really like critical for the release.
Sure, but I mean, we might as well finish it out since we have some other things going concurrently anyways. Okay, and then the unit test and integration tests, I think there's at least 1 or 2 PRs open to finish out some of that. Do you see much more needed for the tests?
No, I don't think so. I think even these are too much, personally.
Okay. And then this one, so we have seen an increase in the flakes related to Smart BFT, both integration test and unit test. Yoav was looking at the most frequent one. He did a PR for that, but it's still popping up as failing pretty often. So I pinged
Well,
him about that one again.
it's not related to Smart BFT. It's related to the block pooling, which is orthogonal to Smart BFT.
Okay, yeah. Anyway, so
I
hopefully he can
mean,
make progress on that.
I mean, it's in the BFT. I would say it's in the BFT work package, or like work group, but it's not like nothing to do with the Smart BFT consensus.
Right, yeah. I mean, it was recently added in, so that's what I mean. Came up in version 3 at some point. So we should try to squash that one. And then there's also an integration test that fails pretty often around Smart BFT. Okay, anything else for Smart BFT you want to mention, Yakov?
No, but I was wondering, like, except from that, what is essential for the release?
Okay, so we're moving on to that next. So Artem has gotten pretty far along with the chain code v1 lifecycle removal, but he hasn't made much progress the past month or so. So I pinged him yesterday to see if he could join this call. Unfortunately, he's not here. So I want to get an update from him on this. If he's not able to do this, we'll have to get somebody else to take a look at this one. There's just a little bit more work remaining here. You mentioned the global ordering endpoints already. This is just one small config change. I think we should change the block gossip enabled property to false by default. So this is something we deprecated in v2, and we decided not to remove it completely in v3, but at least we can disable it or mark it as false in the default config. I can even do that if you, and then you can take a look at it, Yakov, from
Sure.
a review perspective. What else could we potentially do for version 3 is in this last list. There's one here. I'll open these up. This has been a issue that was opened last year. It's small enough, and I think it requires a capability, so I'm thinking we might as well do it for version 3. This is the ability to configure what I call it a max write size config option in the channel config. This relates to an issue that some people had around exceeding the CouchDB max document size. And it was pretty ugly because in version 3, CouchDB reduced the size of the default config for max document size to 8 megabytes. And that caused people's writes to fail. And unfortunately, that happens at commit time of the block as opposed to endorsement time, which means if there's any peers vulnerable to this issue, the channel just makes no progress. It fails to write until that config is updated. So that's why I agreed with the opener of this issue that it was a pretty important thing. And this was my proposal to fix this. Proposed that we check this max write size new channel config option at both endorsement time and validation time. So if people could take a look at that, I think since it is a capability change, I would probably say it requires an RFC. It can be a short RFC, like just a couple paragraphs long. And the code is pretty minimal, but I still think it's a good practice to do an RFC anytime we have a capability change. Does that make sense?
Why do you need it to be a capability? Is it? I mean, can't we check it pre-order or something?
We could definitely just check it at endorsement time, but I thought it was important enough that you would also want to check it at validation time, and then you've got potentially non-determinism, which would require the capability.
Yeah, but I mean, if you check it pre-ordering, then you don't think it need the capability, so it's easier.
Yeah, I thought of that. I considered that. But again, I thought it was important enough that we should probably check it at validation time just to make sure nothing tried to sneak in that was too large and then exceeding, because the repercussions is pretty large. If you exceed this, you can stop all progress on the channel, at least for the peers that are vulnerable to this. But you're right, we could do that. We could do it just at endorsement time. Check.
So everyone who potentially has been impacted from that, adding a capability won't help, right? Because I mean, they're already stuck, right? Because there's nothing they can do, right?
Right, it won't help existing
All right.
users,
So
though,
we
mostly for
all
new
right. So
users.
so I guess since we can only help like new ones, I would say we can just put it in the endorsement time, and then I mean I don't see how adding a capability. So if we add the capability, what did you have in mind to invalidate this transaction or something?
That's right.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess we can just like do it in endorsement time. It's easier.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that, actually. I do dislike adding new capabilities, and it would make it small enough where we wouldn't need an RFC either at that point. So I can edit this text and write it up as just an endorsement time check. All right, I agree with that one. The other one I thought we might want to look at is this ED 25519 support. This has been a long-standing PR. The contributor has been really patient. He's now pushed this down into Fabric libgo because that's where the BCCSP code is now. So I pinged Ale and Angelo to see if they could take a look at this again. And these last two, I think last meeting we talked about deferring these. The Fabric protos updating the Go bindings to be protocol buffer API v2. There's a couple issues related to this. If somebody could look at those issues and see if we can get a good resolution, I'd be okay updating this. But if we don't resolve that, I don't think we'll be able to update to API v2. And the other one, just for historical purposes, we had on here is removing the Go plugins. I think we decided that would be a potential deferral as well. All right, were there comments about the Protos one?
No, David, I have a question, maybe comments on the crypto one. So, maybe so I want if you pin the maintainer for the BCCSP, I want to also I'm interested with their opinion for the post quantum crypto items. So in recent, I checked the IETF, the RFC documentation. So for example, Delicium, the X509 format for the Delicium is still in the early draft for the IETF. But hopefully they may from the internal draft to some public review. So for this time, we add a new curve support as 25519, right? So maybe next time for Delicium. So if you going to have discussion with the BCCSP maintainer, I hope you can ask their opinion for how R7 fabric considering the Delicium or other post-quantum curve support.
That makes sense. I think there was an issue open at some point about quantum safe crypto. I can try to find that issue and mention them on that one as well to get their opinion.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, any other feedback today, either for version 3 or otherwise? Okay, so the good
yeah,
news is we're getting pretty close here. Yep, go on.
let me confirm. So could you frame detail of the remaining tasks for the removal of the V1 chain code lifecycle? So from my understanding, at least the command have been removed. So what's the remaining task to do?
I haven't looked at this in detail recently. That's why I was hoping Artem would show up for this one. Maybe we can take it to the mailing list.
Yeah. Okay. So if there are anything I can help with this task, I would be happy to help.
Okay, appreciate that. So we'll see if Artem responds to my ping, and then
Yeah.
I'll also reach out to you if there's other items you can help with.
Yeah. At least we need to update the command documentation. So
Yeah, in fact, for all of these, I was going to do a final scan of documentation. I think there's a couple of dangling references for some of these, I know. Okay. Thank you. All right, any other feedback? Okay, like I said, we're pretty close here, so thanks for your patience as it's taken a while to close down version 3, a little bit longer than we thought, but I think we can still hit this target that I had for mid-year this year. Okay, any other topics today? Okay, I think that's it then. Thank you, everybody. Okay, goodbye.
Goodbye.